Most people who start investing will quit in the first 3 years. They'll look at their portfolio, see a measly $12,000 after 36 months of skipping lattes and working overtime, and they'll say, "This isn't worth it. The math is too slow." And they're right. In the beginning, the math is slow. It's brutal. It's boring. It feels like trying to fill a swimming pool with a teaspoon. But what if I told you there is an invisible wall in finance? A specific coordinate where the laws of physics seem to change. On one side of this wall, you are working for your money. On the other side, your money is working so hard that your salary becomes irrelevant. Charlie Munger called the first $100,000 a bitch, but he didn't talk enough about the $500,000 mark. That is the velocity point. That is where you stop being a saver and start being a spectator to your own wealth explosion. Today, I'm going to show you the exact math of why the second half of your journey to $1 million is 10 times easier than the first. If you feel like giving up, this video is exactly why you shouldn't. The curse of the first $100 K. Let's be honest. The first $100 K is 90% discipline and 10% investing. If you invest $1,000 a month at a 7% return, it takes you roughly 7.5 years to hit that first six-figure milestone. During those 7 years, you'll see stock market crashes. You'll see your friends buying new cars while you drive a 10-year-old Toyota. You'll feel like you're doing something wrong because the compounding everyone talks about, it hasn't shown up yet. At $10,000, a 10% gain is only $1,000. That's a weekend trip. It doesn't change your life. This is the valley of disappointment. This is where the lazy investor either dies or is born. The $500,000 critical mass. Narrator. Now, let's jump ahead. You stayed the course. You hit $100 K, then $300 K, and finally, you see it in your account, $500,000. Suddenly, something strange happens. A 10% market year, which is the historical average of the S&P 500, now adds $50,000 to your net worth. Think about that number. For most people in the US or Europe, $50,000 is a full year's take-home pay. At this point, your money has officially become a full-time employee. Scenario A. You work 40 hours a week for 12 months to earn $50 K. Scenario 2, where $500 K portfolio sits in an index fund while you sleep and earns $50 K. This is velocity. The amount of human effort required to go from $500 K to $1 million is almost zero. You just have to not touch it. The heavy lifting is over. The math of acceleration. Let's look at the timeline. To get from $0 to $500 K might take you 15 to 18 years of hard, consistent saving. It feels like an eternity. But to go from $500,000 to $1 million at a 10% return, it takes only 7.2 years, without you adding a single penny. The first half took 18 years. The second half took 7. You are moving nearly 3 times faster. This is why the rich get richer. It's not a conspiracy. It's just how exponents work. The bigger the snowball, the more snow it picks up with every single rotation. When you're at $0, you have no snowball. When you're at $500 K, you have an avalanche. Why do most people never reach the velocity point? Because they treat their portfolio like a bank account, not a machine. When you have $500 K and the market drops 20%, you lose $100,000 on paper. That is a terrifying number. Most people panic and sell. They kill the machine right when it was about to start sprinting. Being a lazy investor like Tom means having the stomach to watch a year's salary vanish in a week, knowing that it's just part of the cycle. Trusting the math over your emotions is the only way to reach the finish line. Constitute. The millionaire within 5 years. You're watching this and you only have $500 or $5,000. Don't be discouraged by the long road. Every dollar you put in today is a soldier you are sending to the front lines to build that $500 K base. Once you hit that number, the game changes. You stop chasing the dream, and the dream starts chasing you. Wealth isn't about luxury cars. It's about the moment your money out-earns your labor. So, keep pushing. The hill is steep now, but the view from the velocity point is worth every sacrifice. Stop working for money. Start building the machine. And here's what most people misunderstand about wealth in America. It doesn't explode because of genius. It explodes because of duration. The stock market has survived wars, recessions, bubbles, crashes, pandemics, and still averaged around long-term growth over decades. Not because it's smooth, but because it's resilient. The people who win are not the ones who predict every crash. They are the ones who refuse to leave the game. In the early years, your portfolio feels small compared to your paycheck. Your job is doing the heavy lifting. Your investments feel like a side project. But over time, the roles switch. Your portfolio becomes the engine. Your job becomes the fuel. That's the crossover moment. And it doesn't happen loudly. It happens quietly in a random ordinary year when your market gains equal your annual contribution. Then later, your annual salary. Think about the average American worker. They trade 2,000 hours a year for income. But a $500,000 index portfolio in a normal 10% year can generate $50,000 without a single hour worked. No commute, no boss, no overtime. That's not just growth. That's leverage. Money creating time. But here's the psychological trap. When your account is small, volatility looks harmless. A 20% drop on $8,000 barely hurts. When your account is large, the same 20% drop feels like a personal attack. Headlines scream. Social media panics. Experts argue. And this is where future millionaires are separated from emotional sellers. Is at scale. Volatility is the price of velocity. You cannot demand high long-term returns and low short-term discomfort at the same time. One cancels the other. Look at every major long-term index investor story in the US retirement accounts. 401k millionaires, index fund legends. They all share one boring trait. They kept buying. Through crashes, through elections, through recessions, through fear. Not because they were fearless, but because they were systematic. Automation beats motivation. Auto investing every month will outperform emotional decision-making almost every time. Here's a powerful shift. Stop asking, is this a good year to invest? Start asking, is this a good decade to stay invested? Because fortunes are built on decades, not headlines. In America, the biggest portfolios are not built by traders. They're built by consistent buyers of productive assets. Businesses, indexes, innovation, ownership, not prediction. Creates wealth. Watching you right now. Deciding whether you become the person who quit at $20,000 or the person who stayed until the curve turned vertical. Most people underestimate what 15 years can do and overestimate what 15 months can do. Compounding does not reward intensity. It rewards continuity. One day, if you stay the course, you'll open your account and see a strange result. The market moved more money in one day than you used to invest in 6 months. That's when it clicks. You are no longer pushing the snowball. The snowball is pulling itself. That is the velocity point. So if you're early, good. If it feels slow, normal. If it feels boring, perfect. Because in long-term investing, boring is not a bug. Boring is the strategy. Stay invested. Stay systematic. Stay patient. Because the math is slow at first and unstoppable later. Build the machine and let time turn it into momentum.